Your message is your passion, and you want to build your business around it. You have a big dream and a vision. You know you want to get this message out there in the biggest way possible. But you can only have that big impact if you have a way to get your message in front of all the right people, and you want lots of them. Hi, it's Melanie Benson Strick here, America's leading small business optimizer. And this weekly series is all about the little changes that have a huge impact on your business and your ability to have the time and the energy and all of the things you wanted when you dreamed about your business. And I'm so excited today to have two really special people, not just because they're amazing, not just because they have a great business, but because they have this awesome way of helping you get your message out there. And when you can get these strategies down and you can learn how to get your message in front of more people, it's one of the best ways to optimize your marketing and your sales process. So let me introduce these two wonderful people. I've got Callan and Justin Livingston with me today. They're co-founders of Leaders to Luminary training, and they specialize in helping entrepreneurs use live and virtual events to grow their business. And you can apply this to all kinds of things like workshops, retreats, seminars, teleseminars, webinars. And I have to tell you, I met them originally at a speaking event, and I've seen them do such magical things over the years since we first met. Callan's been so generous and shared some amazing tips with me along the way to help me fine-tune my game. But I have to tell you, when I saw them speak the first time, I was just magnetized, which is what you want, right? You want people magnetized. And it is so powerful what they do. So they're here today to not only share some great strategies and tips, but we're going to actually take a peek behind one of the fastest growing businesses that I've ever seen. Someone who's got all the right things in place, but you know, like all us entrepreneurs, had to have a little bit of some tweaking or refining to not let their business consume their life. So welcome, guys. I'm really happy you're here.
Thank you. Definitely my pleasure to be here, and assuming you feel the same, Justin?
I do indeed, yeah. Thanks for that intro. It should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, and I got to give some special props to you guys because I know it was a lot of coordinating because we wanted to have both of you here because as a partnership, there's a lot that you guys are learning about running a business together, about, you know, how to divvy things up, and also, you know, there's something really magical about hearing from both sides of the business, the way it runs. So thanks for making that happen.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just as long as we know that whatever I say is right and what he says is wrong, then we're good.
Justin, are you on board with that?
Well, I was thinking something similar, only that I thought it would probably be interesting. We're probably going to learn more about each other, or at least our perspectives of our business in this interview than we have over the last year or so.
I seem to remember a lot of that in our time together over the years. That's great. I love it. Well, let's start with something really fundamental. You know, I think it's really important to know what, as a business, our focus is. And one of the ways we can do that is, you know, each business solves a problem for their clients. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the problem that Leader to Luminary training solves for their clients?
You want to take a go at that one, Justin, or do you want me to?
Justin's adjusting his headset.
No, you know you want it. Go ahead, take it.
You guys are so good at sharing. All right, Callan, you go. You run with this one.
The primary thing that we specialize in is in helping workshop, retreat, and seminar leaders grow their businesses. And in addition to that, also entrepreneurs that are looking to grow their business but want to use workshops, retreats, and seminars as an avenue to get their message out to more people. But one of the things that is really common with these kinds of people is that they've got amazing expertise, education, experience. In fact, some of them have the most miraculous cures and solutions ever, that stuff that the world really, really needs, but they have no idea how to actually communicate it in a way that feels really good to the people that are receiving the message, and also gets a lucrative result so they can grow their business. So that's really what we help them do, is transmit their message to the people that really need it in a way that is a triple win. Feels good for them, feels good for the person receiving the marketing message, and also actually allows them to grow a lucrative business.
So let's just dial it down one more level inside of that. So let's say someone's got this great message. They're really passionate about their work. They've got something they know can help other people. What's the problem that they're experiencing that they know they need to do the work that you guys teach?
Well, what we've found is there's really three main problems when people try and put their message out. That they're not talking to anybody specifically. So especially for holistic practitioners and healers, the solutions they offer are good for everyone. Like, a lot of people can benefit from them. So when they start to promote, they start to try and speak to everybody. But what happens when you do that is that nobody feels like the marketing message is for them. There's a lack of intimacy. They're like, oh, well, maybe this is for me, maybe it's not, now I'll just skip it and go on to something else. So one of the first things we help them with is, who are you talking to? Like, who do you want to speak to intimately? Who do you want to take a look at your marketing and go, oh, that's me, and pick it up? That's the first thing. They're too vague with who they're talking to. The second thing that we find is that they're not really talking about a problem that people are actually conscious they have. So what happens with a lot of these experts is that they're so deep in their expertise and education and experience, they forget about what it's like to kind of be a beginner facing this problem. So they'll try to market to a problem that's 2 or 3 levels deep in someone's psyche, which for the most part they're not even aware that they have. So they're marketing with solution and deep issues and things like that, but people don't know. All they know is, like, my head hurts, my back hurts, my relationship sucks, like really top of mind surface things.
Right.
So the second thing we help them do is get really specific and design marketing that's speaking to a problem that someone's conscious that they have, as opposed to like something that may be deeper in their psyche that these experts are aware of, but their actual potential clients are not aware of yet.
You know, it's interesting. I've made all of those mistakes.
Yeah.
And they're really costly. They become profit leaks. You know, I think that's one of the things we have to optimize. It doesn't matter where you're at in your business trajectory, how long you've been in business. If you're not getting enough sales, you're not getting enough enrollments, you don't have enough people coming into your marketing funnel, that's probably one of the key things you've got to look at fixing. So I'm really glad you brought that up. So,
yeah, and I'll just talk about that third thing, Melanie.
Please.
So I just wanted to summarize. The first thing is no specific audience, not being specific with who they're talking to. Second thing, no top of mind specific problem. And the third thing is, and this is really, I think, what makes us unique in the marketplace, and what I think that we're both really proud of, is that people are not actually leading with value first in the form of an education. So actual marketing materials that even if nobody ever buys a single thing from you, they are deeply served simply by consuming your marketing materials. And then the second piece of that is actually structuring that education and that value and that content in a way that positions a purchase, so that people are not only deeply served by consuming your marketing, but at the end of it, they want to actually pay you for something and move forward with you in business. Most people, they might give a lot of value, but they don't understand that positioning piece. So to summarize, specific audience, specific problem, and then education-based marketing that actually positions a purchase. And I think that's really what makes us most valuable to the clients that we serve.
I'm glad that you said that third one, because that's what it's all about, right? You gotta get kind of, you're just like spending time and energy if you're not actually moving someone into becoming a paying client or using your programs or services.
Yeah, you have a hobby, not a business.
Exactly. I love that saying. You know, it's all about having a business that's profitable. So I want to take a step back in your journey, and let's go back a few years to the catalyst behind why you guys said, yes, let's do this together. Let's make this business happen. You know, it's like, this is a pretty big commitment to make, not just to get a business out there and make it a viable, really successful business that's affecting so many people, but you guys are doing this together.
Well, originally I would say that the desire came from me starting my business, which was a workshop business on my own, and it completely tanked out of the gates. Like, I had a great message, I was great on stage, I had great content, I have education degrees and psychology degrees. I mean, I was good at that part of it, but I had no idea how to attract people to my business. And when I figured out that I had to learn that, I started to look for the best information and the best people in the business. And when I started to call around to find out in these big workshop companies who was filling their rooms, this gentleman's name kept coming up again and again and again. So as fate would have it, he was looking to be better on stage, which is good at. I was looking to fill my rooms and get more people to my business, which is what he was just absolutely a master at. So we shook hands and decided to co-mentor each other, and then we put our very first event on. We made $250,000 together, and from there we thought, okay, this is working, maybe we should keep going. That's my side of the story, Justin. I don't know, what's your side?
That's my recollection as well, though. You know, I also have a memory of, I can't remember where we were. I think we were in Beverly Hills one time. I think it's Beverly Hills. Anyway, we had an appointment with Jennifer Butler, the fashion consultant, and we were a bit early. and so we were sitting in a coffee shop, and we got into a conversation, and as Callan tends to do whenever we get into a conversation, she's always taking notes, so she takes out her pen and paper, and she started interviewing me on my take on leadership and mentorship and how it was evolving. And it turned out to be a really fascinating conversation. I don't know if you remember that, Callan. We came up with we came up with a bunch of principles at the time that we saw as being this evolution of leadership and mentorship in general, but we were specifically looking at it from the personal development space and people that were leading and inspiring and teaching others from stage and stuff like that. And we got really excited by it. I remember that originally that was our business. We were looking to really help workshop, seminar, and retreat leaders, and we had our idea about how that was going to look. Of course, in the first even few months of our business, it changed a lot once we actually had a better pulse on what it is that they actually need, or from their perspective, what it is that they were looking for. I can't even remember what they all necessarily were, but we got so excited by it. I remember one of them, just an example, Melanie, give you a feel for the types of things they were. One of the things that we saw as a changing paradigm in leadership was a respect and an appreciation for the feminine. So whereas in old models, in days gone by in leadership, there wasn't necessarily room for that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think that now that I've stated it, you've either known that already or that you would agree with me. Oh wow, that is something that has definitely changed.
And even if you don't like the term masculine, feminine, even yin versus yang, like that directive energy versus the more receptive energy, like just a respect for that. Yeah, I love that you're remembering this, Justin. I completely forgot about that conversation. And basically, we outlined all the principles of what made somebody a leader versus what made someone a luminary, which is kind of like the evolution of leadership. It's really cool.
And then we named our company Leader to Luminary Training, and that was the start.
Yeah.
And,
I don't think I ever heard that story. I love that story about how the name came about.
I forgot about that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those concepts, as it turns out, they're weaved into our curriculum, but they're much more on the back end now. Whereas at the beginning, our original idea was to lead with that, but then that didn't work as well as using solid marketing and business principles to start people where they're at and then lead them there. But that was the start. It was really great.
So when I met you guys were experiencing what I would consider one of the highest class problems any entrepreneur can have, right? And I'll let you guys tell the story, but I think it's a really significant thing to look at the challenges that make us who we are today. What were the pivotal moments and the real what we might say the obstacles or the pieces of our journey that helped us become stronger. But what would you say, and I think there may be more than one challenge you guys want to talk about today, but what would you say are some of your biggest challenges that you have faced? And Justin, I want to turn to you on this one first.
You're referring personally, right?
Well, it could be personally, and it could be what you experience as a business.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, of course.
Let's pick. I'll let each of you share one. Justin, you pick one, and then Callan, you can share one. I think I'll know what you guys will pick too.
Yeah.
Oh.
For me, my focus. I don't even know how long it's been going on now. Probably a couple years at least. Maybe longer. Anyway, my focus has been on refining the. Who I am and the skills that I have at my disposal to be a better leader. Essentially, I mean, this idea of leader to luminary. But at the end of the day, it comes about how can I continuously evolve myself to better motivate our team, not only to be productive. Of course, that's one side of it, and it's an important side of it. But the other side of it is how can I do everything that I can to ensure that they, to put it simply, that they are in their dream job, which I don't even know as an idea if that's even possible.
How many people do you have on your team right now, just for context for people?
8 now.
Okay.
8 now.
And you guys have separated out the roles in the business, and I think that's a really key piece of your evolution, as well as you guys started doing probably some similar things, and now you've really differentiated who's doing what, and your job is to lead the team. Am I understanding that?
Yeah, that's correct. And now that's changing again. Now, now there's a woman named Andrea who is now taking over that role, because as we're growing, it's making sense now that even I have to move out of that role now, just because of the way that the company's growing, and you know, we're heading over to Europe, and we're doing all kinds of really spectacular things. We've got our first $1 million month coming up in November of this year. There's just a lot of really grandiose things that are taking a lot of my attention, so I'm having to move out of that as well.
So Justin, how would you define your role? What is the key thing you're going to be focusing on as one of the co-leaders of Leader to Luminary training?
It's purely the structural and what do you call it? Like our strategic growth plan. So it's all of the things that have to change at the vision level and at the strategic level to make sure that we continue to, you know, whatever our goals happen to be, growing, if we wanted to double every year, or whatever significant goals that we've set out for ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah, that's my role.
He's a strategist.
Yeah.
That's where he
You know,
belongs. That's
Melanie,
where his joy is, you know.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to say, because you were mentioning about defining the roles and all of that, and that's so critical, and I also wanted to say that we've had some real struggles with that. And you know, it's so we learned from you at the very beginning the importance of specifics and making sure that the roles are clearly defined, right? So we went about doing that. However, in the execution of it, there were points in our business where I decided that it was going to be optimal to have roles that weren't necessarily clearly defined, or to let them define themselves on the fly. And that was a flop.
So my advice held true. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it held true in the face of my better ideas.
That's the entrepreneur in you, Justin.
Yeah, and I've tried it a few times. You know, I had some ideas I thought that were, I didn't know for sure that they were going to work, but I thought that they would, and it was worth trying out. And each time I've done that, it's been a flop. So anyway.
I'm really glad you shared that, by the way, and I appreciate your openness, because I don't think you're alone. I think many people think, oh, I can figure this out on my own, or I'll just tweak it and refine it. And you know, what I've learned is that when something works, do what works. And I'm glad that you're finding that, going back to what we might even say the basics of just really defining the roles well and giving people the clarity. Because here's the other thing, and you know, when I teach Build Your Dream Team, I've seen this over and over and over again, is that the more clarity we give the people who support us, the better they are. Because if we've done a good job of hiring, we've actually hired people who are good at implementing, which means they need more structure, they need more clarity, and they need things defined so they can go do what they do best. We tend to be better at being in that free floaty or figure it out and creativity, because we're creatives. So I think it's an interesting point that you surfaced there.
Yeah, and another thing that just came to mind is when it comes to the idea of hiring, with your, maybe it must be a bit different with your clients, because that's part of your promise. I know, but I'll speak to it anyway, just in case. With our clients, we find typically there's a real aversion to hiring people.
Are you stealing my point?
No, we got that crossover.
Okay. Well, I don't know where you were going to go, but anyway, I'll risk it and continue. Anyway, I had a really important paradigm shift a while back, and it came from it was actually on a coaching call, on a group coaching call with one of our clients. And anyway, I'll spare the details, just get to the point. And that is that I realized that, you know, in the past, I'd always been of the mindset that our clients are the most important people. You know, we got to do everything to take care of our clients. And then it came to my attention through this conversation that, you know, that speaking for myself, but of course there's me and Callan, but just speaking for myself, that I had an opportunity every bit as powerful, perhaps and I'm actually convinced now, more powerful to impact the lives of the people that have chosen to support our vision. And I got really excited by that. And that's been a significant part of my own growth and development, is to continuously refine, who I am and what am I choosing to do so that I can help to support the people as best I can that have chosen to support our vision. And, I mentioned this idea of trying to make sure they have their dream job, but it's more than that. It's about encouraging them to chase after and pursue whatever it is, whatever their own bliss is. It can be many things. Of course, it will be many things outside of our company even. Mm-hmm. And how can we support them to chase down those dreams and those ambitions? And anyway, because of the intimacy with these people that we have, I believe we have a bigger opportunity to impact them in their transformation than we do even with our own clients. I got really excited and continue to be excited by that.
Well, and there's a great distinction between being the doer, being a manager, and being a leader. And one of the things that happens when you really own that leadership role, which I'm so excited that you've stepped into, is recognizing that your people who support your company are your clients. Mm-hmm. And those clients, if you serve them and help them be the best they can be, and whatever that means, they're going to serve the end client even more in a fulfilling and powerful way. So that's such a great distinction. So, Callan, I'm curious if you want to add to the challenges conversation here. It sounds like you guys are on the same path with some things there.
Yeah, I think you were. And I've told you this number of times, but you were really a turning point for me in terms of our business, because Justin and I had this thing that I like to phrase, when caring becomes control. So early on in our business, we both have really deeply cared about putting out a valuable quality service and product to the people in the marketplace, and we care so much about people getting results that work for us, and that's probably one of the number one things that keeps us up at night, is like, are our clients actually getting the results that we want them to get? But what that did for us is it kept us putting our little fingers and time and energy into every aspect of the business, from administration to client care to sales to marketing to leading the events to designing the events to booking venue. Like, between the two of us, we were doing everything because we felt like we were the only people that could keep the quality of what we were providing the world high.
Yeah.
And it didn't even occur to us that there was actually people out there that could probably do some of these aspects of our business better. And so Justin and I were burning ourselves out, and basically we came to the conclusion one day that we were actually building our life to support our business, as opposed to building a business that would support a lifestyle that we would enjoy, that would allow us to follow our own bliss. And so then when we met you at that speaking engagement, I'll never forget it. You up on stage flashing all these pictures of your freaking spa vacations and how you're running this $1 million business and still going to the spa all over the world. And I just started to weep, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's what I want. Whatever she is doing, that's what I want. And I want to fit. And I did not know. And you said, listen, the key is people. You need people to support you. And I hadn't even considered it. Mm-hmm. So that was when you and Justin and I sat on that picnic table outside, and we said, you're hired. Please tell us how we can stop, taking over every aspect of our business. And I'll never forget the first time you hired someone with your role description and stuff. Basically, the first thing we got off our plate was the administrator about it. And I thought I was great, but she ended up being way better. And then when we were paying her, I can't remember, a decent wage to do that kind of thing, and I was making 10 times more with the hour that I would have spent doing administration, doing what I'm good at. And then, it just started to unfold, and now I'm so excited because we just did a staff retreat, which Justin put together for the first time, basically a planning retreat. And I almost did nothing. I was going through kind of a rough personal time at the time, and so I didn't have a ton of energy. And I basically laid on the couch for 2.5 days and watched my team build our business. It was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it was great. I maybe said a few things throughout the day, but for the most part, our team was doing the work. And anyway, I have you to thank for that. And so if there's any one tiny bit of advice I could give to people that are, growing their business as fast as we did, is get help, get it soon. Be specific about what you want and let go of that control, and so that you can do what you're good at and what your genius is.
Well said. I still get the chills just like seeing how the transformation has gone, and remembering what was happening for you guys back then, and then seeing like it's almost like you guys almost look different. You're so much more calm and grounded, and I think there's a level of freneticness that everybody has when the business is consuming your life. So it's nice to see you guys really so powerful.
I was clean shaven back then.
What? You stopped?
I was clean shaven back then, but now I'm so relaxed.
Now you seem wiser with your beard.
and I'm on a holiday right now. Like I've just taken 2-week holiday sitting in a cabin in Boulder, which I never would have considered that before meeting you, Melanie. So, yeah. I love it.
That's great. I love it. Okay, so real quick, I know we might have covered this already, but I just want to see if there's a game-changing moment that you haven't shared yet that you want to share with people that really helped you go from maybe struggling or feeling like you were just getting by, that catapulted you.
Well, I've said mine. You were it. By far, one of the most important moments was meeting you and understanding I needed to have a team and I needed to build my business to provide me with the lifestyle I wanted. So that's mine. I don't know what yours is, Justin.
Yeah, and again, there's so many of those, but you know what? It's actually I feel like I'm going through mine right now. The theory of what it is that you shared with us back in the day, Melanie, and in some ways, it's taken me way longer to integrate it than Callan, and.
Yeah, notice he's in the office and I'm on holiday.
Yeah,
that's why.
I'm in my little dungeon here.
Do you need another round, Justin?
Yes.
Well, whatever. I had some stuff going on in the underground there that was preventing me from making some of the shifts, but it's just mostly around. It's mostly around the activities that I have an emotional attachment to. So, one thing is with regards to the marketing of our company, I constantly get accolades for all of the amazing things that I do, right? Whether it's from Callan or our students or from our staff, people always, tooting my horn, which feels great. So I've realized recently that those things still I've had a firm grasp on. As I mentioned, our company will do $2 million this year, and I do all of our marketing, like one person, pretty well. So the other aspects of our company are well laid out with clear roles and support, and then I, in my little dungeon here, trying to rock everything out. And so I think the big aha moment for me was realizing, I learned the theory and the stuff from you, but then it was the next step was realizing the emotional part of it, where I was stopping short of actually implementing that stuff, and then making the commitment to do that. And we have a meeting later today, actually, with Andrea and Chelsea, and it's part of a project that actually the team came up with at that 2 days that Callan was talking about. It felt great for me. The team I had no input in it, neither did Callan. The team decided that our top priority was to build a marketing team. And anyway, I just felt really great about that.
That's a pivotal moment in any evolution, is when your team has the ownership and the empowerment to actually make the business work better, and that's a game changer. Awesome. Yeah, that's what everybody wants.
They had a better idea than we could come up with.
Yeah, well, kudos for being willing to let go of the control to let that happen, because that's where I don't know if you guys remember this in the Build Your Dream Team process, but that's where you stop being the bottleneck and you start allowing things to flow at the most exponential rate they can grow, is when you allow your team to take ownership of their roles and really drive the results forward. So let's check in. A favorite mantra, quote, or maybe a piece of advice you were given along the way that helps you stay positive and focused. And I want to set context for why it's so important. Every entrepreneur has good days and bad days. And on those bad days, it's what we tell ourselves, right? It's how we manage those emotions. So, Callan, what's your favorite one that helps you stay connected?
This is one that I use in my personal life as well as my professional life, and I don't always apply it well, but it's definitely my go-to, and it's from a man by the name of Mike Lipkin, and he says, don't get frustrated, get fascinated. And so I try to anchor in that. It doesn't always help. Sometimes I'm like, but then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What if I just shifted perspective here and got really curious and fascinated by what's going on? And yeah, that's been one of my go-tos. And then the second one, I got to give my business partner here kudos. He's my the second quote that I always use. And he's, when stuff hits the fan and things aren't going well, I would always be like, oh my God, how are we going to deal with this? What's going to happen? And he would always say, how can we use this? How can we leverage this to our advantage? Like, even when things look like they're completely falling apart, just that one question about how can we actually leverage this? It has been definitely a go-to mantra for me. So those are my two.
I like it. How about for you, Justin? What's one favorite mantra, quote, piece of advice that helps you stay positive and focused?
Well, if Callan gets two, I get two.
Okay. It's all fair.
One is, the first one that came to mind just for me personally in my own day-to-day is, it doesn't really have much emotional or kind of spiritual thing to it, but it's more my style. Yeah. It's very simple. He said to me one time, from structure comes freedom, and that completely changed my life, and something that I address literally on a daily basis. Something that before he brought that to my awareness seemed like, those things were, that the opposite was true. My intuitive sense was that structure, or that freedom resists structure. And that's been incredibly freeing and empowering for me. And then with regards to the tactical, day-to-day with regards to relating with our team and stuff like that, I think the most significant thing for me is the reminder, no matter what happens, whenever anything bad happens, to blame the system, not the person.
Yeah.
And
that is so wise.
Been huge.
That is very wise.
And you know what? I think I got that from you, Melanie.
Yes,
actually.
you did, actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I teach that in my Dream Team program. I said, that's great. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess I did probably teach you that.
Yeah, that was from you.
Yeah, it's so true. And it all goes back to the owner's responsibility. Do we have the systems and the training, and have we created the structure that allows people to be successful? And sometimes we hire the wrong people.
It turns out sometimes we've hired the wrong person before. That happens. But you know what? 99+% of the time, people, again and again, people are always trying their best in the moment. They're doing their best with whatever they have. And when they screw up, usually it's because there was some lack of clarity, a poor system, unclear communication, something. Something was amiss in the dynamics between the individuals, not that one individual is out there to screw anything up,
Well said.
Yeah.
So let's get a tip. Let's leave people with a tip today. What's one tip that you think our listener could find invaluable to making their teleseminars, their events, their whatever they're doing to attract people in? What's something that they could do that you found is just it's like the one thing that makes everything work better?
I want to take this one first. Mentorship. Absolutely, bar none. Invest the time and the energy, and yes, the money, to get mentorship from someone who has been there before, who has created what you want to create. It'll save you so much angst and so much money and so much time just to cut the learning curve and work with someone who is where you want to be.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up the mentorship, because obviously any area of our business that we're trying to make work better, sometimes people go, oh, I can't afford it. But I always say you can't afford not to have the mentoring and the training you need, because you're going to spend 10 times more trying to figure it out on your own and with all the costly mistakes than you will just hiring the person who knows what they're doing. So thanks for bringing that up, Callan. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would totally agree with that. And even for me, it's new. I've always had so much, it's always a motivation for me and a pride to be able to come up with my own marketing processes and systems and all this stuff, because I love it, right?
Yeah.
But recently, even over the last year and a bit, I've reached out to Jeff Walker comes to mind. So I'm in one of his higher end programs, and Christian Michelson. Yeah, like just reaching out to other people and sharing with them as much as I can and getting as much from them. It just makes everything so much easier. You know, just admitting to myself and that whatever it is that I think I'm awesome at, you know, I'm not that awesome. You know, I can get way more benefit from the collective than I ever could by myself.
So I heard mastery is like there's a commitment to not just keep what you have sacred, but to continue to drive yourself to master the skills so that things become automatic. You know, you're automatically sorting for the most powerful marketing strategies. You're automatically having your mindset and your focus on the things that matter most.
Yeah.
And also to follow the advice.
Mm-hmm.
When you do go to these people, like you were saying, don't come up with a better idea. Like if someone has been there and done it, don't go home and modify their advice. Follow it the way they, at least try it first before you go modifying.
So good. Yeah.
I have one other tip, you know, because
please.
One of the things that, you know, we've grown really, really quickly. And even in our case, if I look back, the one thing that I would do different is I would have hired way faster. I would have brought on support in the way of actual people, not just technologies and, you know, other things to automate our webinars or whatever. All that stuff's awesome, but I would have brought on people to support us much faster. And you know, and I hesitate in saying that almost because it's not about telling the people, you know, drop what you're doing, take whatever money you have, give it to someone else, and things are going to be better. I mean, you got to think it through and go through the proper hiring process and everything that things that you teach, Melanie. But I would highly incentivize people to get on it just now, even if they have a team. Like us, we have a team, but it's where can we get more leverage and support so that we can continue to grow and get where we want to go. So. Yeah,
that's a great tip.
Faster.
Go to the spa.
Yeah, go to the spa, let him figure it out. But you know, Justin, you said something that I think it reminds me of when we did start to work on the team. You know, it wasn't an easy decision to take a step back and build the team. And I love that you said I wish I would have done it earlier, because what people don't realize is once you are desperate for the team is the hardest to put it into motion, because you literally feel like you have to stop and put the team in place. And I remember some scary moments for you guys, and it's very real. Like I've had them, everybody has them. It's like, oh my God, I've got to get the next level of my team. So if you hire earlier in the process, you have the foundation for fast growth, rather than feeling like you got to stop everything and slow down so much so that you can speed up faster.
Yeah, and it's in those moments that you're referring to, those kind of panics, more often than not, that was where I would come up with the brilliant idea to have a role that would, you know, clarify itself on the fly kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned before, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so it's hiring to fill the gap rather than hiring for a specific need with lots of clarity. And again, a lot of people do that, and I think they find it blows up down the road, or it's not as profitable.
Proactive versus reactive.
Yeah, good distinction.
It ends up being basically like a roll of the dice playing the lottery, you know, just do something and then cross my fingers. I hope that works.
Hope it works, right. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
So Justin, let's wrap up with something that is new and exciting. Where are you guys going next? What's something, you know, that people can find out about you and what you're doing?
Well, my focus right now is on at the time of this particular, is it okay if I say what time it is right now, or is this like an evergreen thing that will...
Well, it'll be out there forever, but you guys can definitely anchor it.
It's August
August 30th, 2013.
2013, right. So my focus right now is on November of this year. I've set you know, just an arbitrary number, but for whatever reason, it's really important for me to do $1 million in cash transaction in the month of November. So my focus is almost exclusively on building towards that. We had a pretty spectacular month with 3 really great big promotions happening, which is going to be so much fun. And beyond that, we do our events we do our events across Canada, but we also do them in California. So heading into next year, we're going to start doing events in the eastern U.S., like in the New York market, maybe Florida, but New York for sure. And beyond that, I really want to head over to Europe. So maybe as early as 2015 we'll be doing events in the UK and some other English-speaking European countries, which would be phenomenal.
Great.
So anyway, that's the stuff that has me excited right now.
In November, let's talk really quick. What's the new program you guys have coming out, and how can people find out more about it?
We're launching a new version of our Magnetize Your Audience program, which is it's essentially, in a nutshell, it's teaching workshop, seminar, and retreat leaders how to fill those particular programs. So people that their business model could be they're exclusively live event based, or they're using live events as a part of their revenue model. The number one issue for those people tends to be filling those things. So that's the particular program. We call it Magnetize Your Audience.
Great.
We have I put together a page. For any listener or viewer of this particular video, it's a report that Callan actually just finished 2 or 3 days ago. I just finished editing it yesterday. Callan wrote it a few days ago. It's called Fill Your Workshops with Ease, Avoid the 3 Massive Mistakes Workshop Leaders Make That Keep Their Event Rooms Empty. Cool. It's a 29 or 30 page report. Great content in there that you can use right away if you have live events and want to fill them. And so I just threw it up at callanrush.com/Melanie. So if you want to go check that out.
Thanks, guys. I didn't even know you were going to do that. That's so cool. I love the tips you guys have around filling events. And, you know, I tell my people all the time, go check out what you guys are doing, because they're the magic ones. You know, they're the ones that got the formula down.
Thank you. Yeah, Callan is spelled Callan.
Yeah, I'll drop it. Well, it'll be right here on the screen. Just check the link below, and if wherever you're watching this, it'll also be there. And, you know, I also want to say there has been some extraordinary insights, tips, strategies, personal observations that have been shared today. I'd love, as you're listening in right now, share with us what was pivotal for you. What was an aha moment? Share them in the comments below. And I know Callan and Justin would both love to know what really rang true for you, or what kind of helped you have a shift today. And you know, Callan said something so important. It's not what you know, it's what you put into action. It's what you implement that's going to help you get the shift. And I do these interviews with all these amazing leaders and entrepreneurs and, you know, small business owners, because I want you to learn from people who've been there and who've already made the mistakes and already had the learnings. So use us to be your catalyst, to really up your game, to optimize your business, to find that one tweak that's going, when you do it, it's going to have such a significant impact on your profits, your impact, and your sanity. Because as a business owner, you know, our energy and our ability to focus and, you know, have the bandwidth to do more of the things we love, that's what it's all about. So Callan, Justin, thank you guys so much for being here today. I love seeing you guys. It's, you know, it's just such a treat to, you know, share this space with you and to learn and grow with you guys together. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, everybody, can't wait to hear your comments and your shares. And hey, it's all about little things that make the big things happen.